What I want to look at today is the transformation of functions. We've looked at it with specific functions like parabolas, and now I want to look at it generally. So for example, f of x plus a, this gives you your vertical translation. And it's going to move the function up by a units. So, for example, if you have a function that looks a bit like that, that's your f of x, then f of x plus 1 is going to be the whole function but moved up by 1. Similarly, f of x minus a is going to move down by a. So in this case, f of x minus 2 is going to be the same function but moved down, the whole function's moved down by 2. Similarly, f of x minus a, and notice the a is in the brackets this time, is your horizontal translation. Now, the function f of ax, now a is in front of the x here, is a stretch parallel to the x-axis. Now we came across this with trig graphs, and if you remember that, if you had a sine of 2x, it halved the period. So similarly, the scale factor here, the scale factor of the stretch, is going to be 1 over a. So this time, if we'll do a slightly different function here, if our function looks a bit like that, where that goes from negative 2 to 2, and that's your f of x, then f of 2x should half it, because the scale factor is a half. So that now goes from negative 1 to 1. And f of x over 2 should double it. So if you're dividing by half, it's the same as doubling. So that's now going to go from 4 to negative 4. A f of x is a bit different. This is a bit like your amplitude on the trig graphs, and this is a stretch parallel to the y-axis. And in this case, the scale factor is a. So if we get back to our old f of x function, if that is now up to 1, then 2 f of x is now going to go up to 2. Everything, all the x values stay the same. So if that's between negative 1 and 1, that's still between negative 1 and 1. The only thing that changes is the y. And similarly, a half f of x is going to be smaller, so it's going to be halved, so that is now a half, but we're still negative 1 and 1 on the x-axis. Now the final two transformations is minus f of x, and this is going to be a reflection in the x-axis. Just like a minus y equals negative x squared, an upside down parabola. So again, let's get back to our original f of x. Minus f of x is going to be upside down. F of negative x, however, is a reflection in the y-axis. So this time we'll use a slightly different. F of x will go there. So if that's your f of x, then f of minus x is going to look the same but opposite, and if that goes to 1, then that's going to go to negative 1.